is enough said.
What up, Heat Nation? Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video, giving you guys a second video of the day, so you know the drill, you know what to do. So let's go on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. Now, as I mentioned, today is the second episode of today. If you haven't seen it, we did an episode earlier talking about the possibility of the Miami Heat bringing Luka Doncic to the Miami Heat. But we're not talking about Luka on this episode. In today's episode, I want to talk about the possibility of the Miami Heat adding another player that can help this current roster. Because yes, I do feel that the Miami Heat, with their current team, do have the flexibility and the assets to make a trade if a whale superstar player becomes available, especially in this new NBA collective bargaining agreement. With the first and second apron situations, the Miami Heat has a mixture of expiring contracts, young assets, and multiple draft picks they can include to go after a player like, let's say, Giannis or Luka if he becomes available in a trade. Don't give up all those assets for like a LeBron, but you guys know what I mean. However, when I look at this current roster, you guys, I see a mix of young developmental players entering their prime like Bam and Tyler, and then I also see veterans that can help you win, veterans with experience, guys like Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell, Bam Adebayo as well, who's been to multiple NBA finals. So I think this current roster has a mixture of players that can make this season really fun. And with a potential starting lineup of Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo. Let's not forget Davion Mitchell is going to be thrown in that mix. You have Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jovic. I think they're going to take a step up this year. Kasparis Jonas is there. You have Simone Fontecchio. You have Haywood Highsmith. You have a lot of players that can help you win now, especially if some of these players go down a few games with injury. I'm not going to mention Terry Rozier's name because I hope the Miami Heat are able to get him off this roster. Doubt that's going to happen. But the Heat have an open roster spot. And what the Heat need to try to do with that roster spot is to fill it with someone that can help us win now and that can help this current roster. And I've talked about the possibility of the Miami Heat getting a point guard. But one thing that we need to fill, one hole we have, because look, you have Kasparis Jonas, Davion Mitchell, you have guys that can play the point guard position. But right now we have one guy that can play the center position, Kel'el Ware, and you also have Bam Adebayo, who can sprinkle in that position. Now we do have a potential backup center in Vlad Golden, but he's undrafted. He still needs to prove himself. He's a two-way player. One guy I'm looking at that I want to talk about in today's episode, you guys, is Richaun Holmes. Richaun Holmes, he's 31 years old, NBA veteran. He's been in the NBA now for, 9 years, 9-year veteran. And he's been a very solid backup player in his career. Didn't really play a lot of games this past year. He was hampered by injury, but in his 31 games with the Washington Wizards, he did average 64.5% from the field, 7.5 points, 5.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 83% from the free throw line. So this dude can hit free throws at, an easy rate. He's a bruiser down low. This is definitely a guy that can help you with the second unit. I'm seeing him play with Davion Mitchell, great pick and roll players. He's a guy that can rebound, which is something that this team needs coming off the bench. Nikola Jovic, he is, with his body frame, you can look at him as a power forward center, but he's more of a point forward. So if you have Richaun Holmes and Nikola Jovic coming off the bench together, it's going to be easy. Now look, Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware, I want them both averaging over 30 minutes a game. Kel'el Ware averaging this 20 minutes, no. Spo needs to bump that up to 30 minutes a game. You're getting Richaun Holmes because there's going to be games where maybe Bam may not play, Jovic may not play, Kel'el Ware may not play. So you're going to have another able body that's going to be able to help you win these extra games. The Eastern Conference is going to be very tight next season, you guys. 5 wins and 5 losses can literally put you from the 4th seed to the 10th seed. We've seen how the Eastern Conference is the last few years, especially with Boston being hampered and Milwaukee. We don't know their situation. There's not going to be a lot of favorites besides teams like Cleveland and New York. So I think this is going to be pretty open from the 3rd to the 8th seed. So the Heat can actually be a top 4 team if you just win those extra games. Getting a player like Richaun Holmes with this current roster can help you win those extra games. He fits with the team. He gives us what we need. Another veteran. He's not old. He's not like 37 years old. He's 31. He fits with the timeline, and he helps us win now. I can easily see this. I mean, he made $12.5 million. You know, there's really not an open market for him after he was released. I mean, the Miami Heat can bring him with the biannual exception. You can give him a 2-year, $11 million contract with the 2nd year being a player option. Maybe you can talk him to coming for the minimum contract, you know, as a prove itself year. But you have the flexibility to bring Richaun Holmes in. You have the roster spot. You have the financial flexibility. And, I mean, there's not a lot of centers in the open market unless you're able to go after Nikola Vucevic, who I think would be the perfect fit. But on this current roster, you guys, you don't want to get in the way with the development of Nikola Jovic. Like, I really feel, especially in today's NBA, if you have a power rotation of Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo, and Nikola Jovic, I think that's enough. But you get a guy like Richaun Holmes, he just adds to it. It gives you more flexibility. So, Heat Nation, I want to hear your thoughts about Richaun Holmes. 7.5 points, 5.7 rebounds, 16 minutes a game as a backup center, I think can work. Or do you guys think leave Vlad Golan in that spot? Maybe Vlad is the answer. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate you guys so much. And until next time, the boy Ernest out. That's enough said.